All right, what's going on, guys? SteelTwins back at you with another video. Week 11 predictions. Week 10 is officially in the books. I want to welcome a special guest back to the channel. He is a member of the Renegades of Pittsburgh, a.k.a. the Steel City Disciples, a diehard Pittsburgh sports fan, a diehard Pittsburgh sports content creator, and an ultimate rager. Still Maiden, welcome back to the channel. How are you, man?
Ultimate Rager. I'm doing great, boys. Thanks a lot for having me on here.
Hey, glad to have you back, man, for the Week 11 predictions. Thursday Night Football, we have a great rematch of what I think is, so far, a game of the year. Arizona Cardinals at the Seattle Seahawks. Seahawks have lost 3 straight, and Arizona just came off of a miracle victory with DeAndre Hopkins, showing you why he's the best receiver in the league. What's your prediction here?
Well, finally we get a good Thursday night game. So this is definitely a candidate for a game of the year right here. So, like as you said, the Cardinals, they had that insane win over Buffalo. I mean, first of all, thank you, D-Hop, for getting me a bunch of fantasy points with that catch and mossing 3 Bills. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. But, yeah, with this game right here, I think your big takeaway is that the Cardinals already beat the Seahawks earlier in the season. So, it's like the Cardinals, they have the tiebreaker over Seattle. But that game was in Glendale, and it took them overtime to beat the Seahawks. Now they shift on up to Seattle, where the stakes are much bigger. And Russell Wilson, even though he's looked really bad over the past couple weeks with him turning the ball over so many times, which is very unlike him, Russell Wilson, the fact of the matter is he's very tough to beat at home. But the Cardinals, they have kind of seemed to have the Seahawks number in Seattle. This has been a pretty very road-dominated series. So I think it's going to come down to who plays better defensively here. Seattle, they don't really have a good defense and all that. And the Cardinals, they definitely have the offense that can just beat up on Seattle's defense. But I don't know. Generally, when I'm unsure of who to pick, I go home team. And I think that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to say Seattle snaps their losing streak, and I just don't see them getting swept by Arizona. They're going to want to keep the pressure on both the Cardinals and the Rams in the NFC West, and I think that's your bottom line for that game right there. I do got the Cardinals making it a great game, potential game of the week right here, potential game of the year, honestly. But, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say Seattle snaps their losing streak, and they avoid the sweep here. So give me Seattle to rebound and take this one. Pretty high scoring. I'm going to say 33-28 Seahawks.
Yeah, I do think this will be high scoring. Seattle is on a 3-game losing streak. Russell Wilson has not looked great, prior to his first 8 weeks, I honestly say, but I still think he's going to win MVP this year. I think he's the number 1 candidate to win, really. I think he's going to get back on track, especially going at home against a division rival. But I do agree with what you said. It matters on who plays better defensively, and I think Arizona is going to do that. And I think Russell will end up coming, down and possibly even throwing an interception. I think he threw like 2 or 3 against Arizona earlier this year.
He threw 3, actually.
Yeah, so
1 in overtime.
So I can actually see Arizona coming out of here and actually sweeping Seattle and causing Seattle to lose their 4th straight game on the road. So I got Arizona winning here by a field goal, 34-31.
Very interesting. I'm actually going to side with Maiden here. I got Seattle. I don't see Arizona sweeping them. Can they? Absolutely. But I know Carroll and Wilson and Seattle overall are going to want to get their win back, especially at home. Like Maiden said, stakes have never been higher. Seattle is currently 3rd in their division. It's pretty much a tie between the Rams, Arizona, and Seattle at all 6-3. Seattle's going to take that top spot back. So I got Seattle winning 36-33. Should be a good one, though.
Yep.
Now, Sunday games, we have the Philadelphia Eagles that just lost to the New York Giants of all teams after beating them, 8 straight times, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yep.
But they are facing the Cleveland Browns, the 6-3 Cleveland Browns, may I add. So what's your prediction here?
Oh, boy. So, yeah, like your boy said, the Eagles, they just lost to the New York Giants. I mean, I don't know what it is with Philly. I mean, you can blame the injuries that they've had this year, which is a perfectly good reason. But I think the main problem for Philly, in my opinion, is Doug Peterson. Doug Peterson, I'm not saying that he reminds me of Bill Cowher. I'm saying like he's a poor man's version of him, because I said this in one of my videos last week. For as great as Bill Cowher was, he generally tended to overcoach sometimes, and I think that's kind of like what Doug Peterson's doing with Philly. Because I was actually watching part of that Giants-Eagles game back on Sunday, and he made one of the stupidest decisions I have ever seen in my life. So the Eagles are down 10 points. It's 21-11. They score a touchdown to make it 21-17. And instead of kicking an extra point to make it a 3-point game, they go for 2, and Wentz gets sacked.
Yeah, I was actually watching that game. I was confused myself.
I know. When even Eagle fans are saying that Doug Peterson's stupid and he coaches, that's how bad it is in Philly over there. And then you got the Cleveland Browns. So we always like to laugh at the Browns because we're Steelers fans, let's be honest. But let's be real. For the first time in a very long time, since before I was born, to be honest with you, God, that makes me feel old, but for the first time since before I was born, the Browns have expectations. They're 6-3. They're tied with the Ravens for second in the AFC North. The only difference is the Ravens have the tiebreaker because they beat the Browns back in Week 1. So I think the Browns are going to want to keep the pressure on the Ravens for this game. And I think for the first time, the Browns are going to play with motivation and heart, and they're going to take advantage of Philly's very bad pass defense, and they're going to use it to their advantage. Nick Chubb, he made a decision with running out of bounds to drain out the clock to close out that Texans game. And Baker Mayfield, I think he's going to be good to go for this game. So, yeah, honestly, this is kind of giving me vibes of last year when the Eagles got beat up by Kirk Cousins and the Vikings last year. This is kind of giving me that same vibe. So I'm actually going to roll with the Browns to win this one. Not in a blowout, but I got them winning by double digits. I got the Browns taking this one 38-25 to improve to 7-3, and Philly just falls lower.
Interesting. 2 things. One, fuck Nick Chubb. He cost me 6 points in fantasy. I'm facing Rob this week, and if I lose by no more than 6 points, I'm going to be incredibly upset. But, yeah, I somewhat agree with you. You said that Cleveland might actually be playing with motivation for the first time, trying to put pressure on Baltimore. However, I hope that you saying that means that they prove you wrong once again and they look like the old Cleveland Browns that we all know and love to laugh at. But I actually got Cleveland winning this. Philly is just awful.
They're a mess.
They are. Again, it might be the injuries, but how do you lose to the Giants that you've beaten every year?
Regardless of the injuries, they had several opportunities to beat the Giants, and they failed to do that.
They did. They did not play good football whatsoever. And again, like you said, that might fall on Doug Peterson. So I got Cleveland winning 27-26. The only reason why I say that is because I'm not entirely confident with Cleveland winning this, but I'm still going to go Cleveland.
Yeah, I mean, Cleveland's got to win this, right? It's in their territory. The Philadelphia Eagles are just not looking too good. Their coaches are really what's holding the team down, really, because if you look at that the Philadelphia team, it's not really that bad. It's got a lot of potential, but they're just not executing because they're getting some key starters back and they haven't done anything.
Right.
And if Cleveland takes advantage of that and even puts constant pressure on Carson Wentz, just like the Giants did last week, and you saw how Wentz reacted with that. He does not bode well against pressure. And knowing that Cleveland has guys like Miles Jack and Sheldon Richardson and people like Olivia Vernon, they're going to want to try to take out Carson Wentz, especially with that busted-up offensive line. I think Cleveland's going to get this. I'm going to say 26-19.
Okay. Now, next game, we have the Atlanta Falcons at the New Orleans Saints. This is an NFC South matchup, correct me if I'm wrong, but Drew Brees will not be playing in this game. He has, I believe, 5 fractured ribs and a collapsed lung. So he's going to be out for a few weeks. Jameis Winston will most likely get the start because why would you start Taysom Hill? He's not a quarterback. Jameis Winston, I'd imagine, is going to get the start. So what is your prediction, sir?
Well, you took the words right out of my mouth right there, actually. With Drew Brees in this game, I would say that this is going to be a cakewalk for the Saints, but because Drew Brees is going to miss time with the rib injury, extended time, I think it's going to be closer than what people think, honestly. But if there is one thing that the Saints proved to us, it's that last year Brees missed a little chunk of the season last year with an injury, and the Saints did pretty well without him. And, it's just that the Saints, they got a very good offense. Alvin Kamara is a beast, in my opinion. He's the best player on the Saints, in my honest opinion, not Michael Thomas and not Drew Brees. But
he is the Saints.
Alvin Kamara is just amazing. And then you got Sean Payton as their head coach. He's one of the best play callers in the game. So I really don't think Drew Brees is going to be much of an instrument for the Saints for the time that he's out, but they could still use him for this game. But the thing that concerns me about the New Orleans Saints, even though they're playing great football right now, their defense. They do got a good pass rush, but my God, did the Saints give up big plays when it's completely unwarranted. And it showed because that's why they've choked in the playoffs for 3 straight years, because of their defense. And, then you got the Atlanta Falcons. They've been a mess all year this year, blowing leads left and right. They have not recovered from Super Bowl 51 at all. But they have played a little bit better under Raheem Morris since he became the head coach. This is definitely a big game for the New Orleans Saints if they're going to keep pressure on the Tampa Bay Bucs in the NFC South here. And then the Falcons, I don't know. They do tend to play the Saints very tough in New Orleans. And I think with Jameis Winston starting this game for the Saints, with him being the turnover machine that he is, I think Atlanta can take a little bit advantage of that. But all in all, I got the Saints keeping up the winning streak here, actually. I don't think it's going to be a dominant win for them. I think it's going to be closer than what people say. But I actually got the New Orleans Saints taking this one to extend the winning streak. Give me the Saints to win this one 29-20.
Very well said. I got the Saints as well. I'm going to go 24-20 New Orleans Saints. I think Winston will actually look pretty decent. Of course, he might be, like you said, the turnover machine that he's known to be. However, with his LASIK eye surgery he had this offseason, that might be better with his reads when it comes to the Atlanta secondary, which honestly is not great at all. Michael Thomas could finally do something for my fantasy team this year. Emmanuel Sanders might actually have another good game. Alvin Kamara, like you said, is just a monster. So I still got the Saints winning 24-20.
Yeah, and that's what I think the Saints are really going to do is going to rely on Kamara because if you ask me, he's putting that team on his back. He really is.
He's going to need back surgery this offseason.
You saw what happened last week. When Brees went out, they relied on Kamara a lot, and he was the guy that was able to help them finish the game off and win the game. And I think that's what's going to happen here. Kamara's a beast. Winston could be good. He could be bad. We don't really know. He could be both. Quite frankly, I think he is both because that's how he is. That's how he was last year with the Bucs.
Absolutely.
But I got the Saints here winning. I can see Atlanta putting up a fight considering it's a division rival, but Atlanta's been a mess. New Orleans has been here and there, but I think they're really going to start getting back on track on what they truly can be, and that's a great team considering the talent that they got. I got them winning 33-23.
Got you. Now, next game, we have an absolute boring one. We have the Cincinnati Bengals at the Washington football team. I believe Alex Smith is going to be starting his second game of the season after throwing for almost 400 yards last week against Detroit. What's your prediction here?
Oh, boy, this game is going to put tons of people to sleep. You all know the deal with the Bengals, 36-10. Wasn't close, never close at all with us. I mean, that's just how it is. If last year proved anything about the Pittsburgh Steelers, it's this. We could literally go 2-14, suck major shit, and be the worst teams in the league and get, like, the number 1 draft pick. And those 2 wins would be a sweep of the Bengals. They can't beat us. They just can't. So, yeah, man. I mean, there's the Bengals for you. Joe Burrow can't do anything against stout defenses because he's been sacked 27 times by top 10 defenses in the league. He's been sacked 8 times, both by Baltimore and Philly, and then 7 times by Indy, and then 4 by us. And he's been sacked 32 times on the year. And that leads me to what I'm saying about Washington. You know, Washington's strictly a defensive team. They do have a good front seven, and they got an okay secondary. So that alone, I think, is why Washington is going to make it a game with the Bengals. And, you know, they're going to take so much advantage of that really bad offensive line. That's probably the worst in the league. So, I don't know. At the same time, though, I just think Burrow and the Bengals, they do have the offense that can just, you know, beat up on Washington in this game. That's why it's tricky for me to decide, man. So, you know, like I always say, when I don't know who to pick, I go home team. But I'm actually going to go ahead and take the Bengals for this one. And the reason I'm taking the Bengals here is because, number one, I just can't pick Washington. Every time I pick Washington, they lose. So I'm done picking Washington. Number two, like I said, Washington has a good defense, but it's not an elite defense. They got torched up by Baker Mayfield earlier in the year. They got torched up by, in my opinion, torched up by the Giants in both games this year, even though they were relatively close games. And they got beat up pretty bad by Lamar Jackson and the Ravens earlier in the year as well. Now they got to play another young gun in Joe Burrow and the weapons that he has with the Bengals. I think Burrow rebounds, and I think that the Bengals take this one. Middle of the pack, high scoring game here. Give me Cincy to 31-25.
Yeah, this is also tough for me. I want to go Washington because that defensive line could really cause havoc for Burrow, especially a guy like Chase Young. But I don't know if I can trust that Washington secondary. That is my key issue. I have no idea who their corners are. I know they got Landon Collins. Is that it?
Kendall Fuller.
Oh, of course, Kendall Fuller. That's right. I forgot about him.
And Landon Collins is out. I think he tore his Achilles earlier.
Did he really?
Yeah. So he's
Yeah,
done.
he did.
Wow, okay.
He's done. It's not like he did anything, really. Let's be honest.
Oh, no shit. Yeah, I guess I'll go Cincinnati as well. As much as it pains me to do so, I'll go Cincinnati as well, 23-17.
I'm actually going to go with the home team, Washington. I really don't know why. This is more of a shot in the dark kind of thing for me. I do think that front seven will try to get to Burrow and cause him to make mistakes, which he has not really done much so. But if that pass rush and that front seven can get to Burrow, I think defensively they will do fine. And if the offense can take advantage of a terrible Bengals defense, if Alex Smith can connect with Terry McLaurin or if Antonio Gibson can get his versatility going, I think Washington can get this win. I'm going to say 24-21 football team.
Okay. Either way, it don't matter. These two teams suck.
Yeah.
Next game, we have the Detroit Lions at the Carolina Panthers. Teddy Bridgewater, his injury report is not as bad as Carolina fans thought, but his status is uncertain. Not sure if he's going to get the start or if it'll be P.J. Walker. And I believe Christian McCaffrey is also not going to be playing in this game for Carolina. So, yikes. What's your prediction here?
Just a disclaimer, I'm going to be saying this a lot during this video. This game can go either way. And this is another one. I'm going to be saying that quite a bit in this video.
Yeah.
And this is one of those games too. So the Panthers, they're coming off what looks like a blowout loss to Tampa. But if you paid attention to that game, Carolina actually hung in with Tampa pretty well. It was just a bad quarter that the Panthers had. And then the Buccaneers, they just ran away with it. So, yeah, the Panthers, even though they're on this losing streak and their record doesn't say so, they do play tough. But you know the old saying by Bill Parcells, you are what your record says you are. So the Panthers, they're just not a good team. Then you got the Lions. They're an interesting team, too. The Lions, they can be very competitive when they put their mind to it. But after I saw how they played Washington yesterday, you're up 24-3 on them, and you can only win by a field goal, and it takes you damn near a 60-yard field goal to beat Washington. that is something you're not going to be able to get away with for a long time. And seeing how tough Carolina plays on defense, that can cause problems for Detroit. I don't really know if Matthew Stafford can handle the Panthers defense that they have. I think Teddy Bridgewater can have a good game for Carolina. And, yeah, once again, when I'm not sure of who to pick, I go home team. That's what I'm doing here. I'm going to go ahead and take Carolina Panthers to snap their losing streak here, get the job done over Detroit. Pretty ugly game, in my opinion, but I got it being, a close game just because neither team can get out of their own way at this point. So, yeah, I'm actually going to roll with Carolina to get this win by a final of 26-23.
Yeah, this is another tough one for me as well. I'm going with the ruling that Bridgewater will be out here. I'm actually going to go Detroit. I can see Stafford and Jones and Galladay, of course, and maybe Hawkinson. Maybe AP gets involved. Maybe Swift gets involved. Maybe they can all have solid games and wreak havoc over that Carolina defense. That's strictly why I'm going with Detroit here. I can see Carolina definitely pulling this off at home, but I'm just going with it strictly because Bridgewater could be out.
Right.
So I'm going to go Detroit here, 30-16. However, do not be surprised if I change my prediction through the week.
Yeah, I do think Carolina will get the victory here at home. They suffered 2 devastating losses, one that was so close against Kansas City of all teams, and one which was pretty much a blowout against Tampa Bay. They're going to want to come back home and try to get a win, whether Bridgewater starts or not, whether if McCaffrey plays or not. They're going to want to try to get a win. They're looking to possibly even try a way to sneak into the playoffs because they are a very competitive football team. The past 2 weeks, they are very competitive, and they showed that they got a lot of heart and a lot of talent. Detroit, though, they'll be good at times. There'll be times where they show a lot of potential, but then the next week they'll just fall flat on their faces like they always do.
That's always been Detroit.
Yeah. So that's why I'm going to go with Carolina here. I'm going to say 28-24.
Okay. Now, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Not going to lie, I'm actually kind of worried about this game because, of course, Jacksonville has our number recently. We don't normally play that great in Jacksonville, and I believe Jacksonville actually leads the series over us. This is, of course, a AFC Central throwback retro rivalry. So, of course, Maiden, you are a Steelers fan. What shall be your prediction?
I cannot stress this enough. I'm worried about Jacksonville. I'm worried about how we're going to play them. Because, if you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, you know that this screams trap game.
Mm-hmm.
Because, we all know Tomlin's track record of, playing teams like this, going back to, 2018 where we inexplicably lost to the frickin' Raiders of all teams. 2017, we lost to the Bears, who were a bad team that year.
Mm-hmm.
2016, lost to the Dolphins, who were not good when we lost to them. 2015, I think Kansas City was 1-5 when they beat us. And then 2014, we lost to a bunch of bad teams that year. Tomlin has such a bad track record, and not to mention we could never beat the Raiders when they were in Oakland, and they were terrible all those years.
Yeah.
So, Tomlin does have a track record of losing games like this, but, Bill Cowher did as well. Bill Cowher tended to play down a competition as well.
Mm-hmm.
But, man, this game, oh, my God, this game screams trap game so much because – this ain't 2017. The Jaguars don't have that Saxonville defense that they had in years past. And, they had that big fire sale in the offseason. They just lost Yannick Ngakoue and Calais Campbell's on now. So I really don't know who else they have on defense, to be completely honest with you. And then I think they're going to be starting Gardner Minshew in this game, if I'm not mistaken. So, really, if you look at it, all the advantages in this game go to us because our offense is steadily getting better as the weeks go by. I think we're a top 10 offensive team this year. If not, we're incredibly close to it, and I think we'll finish in the top 10 in offense this year if all this holds up. But I think the main difference here is that back in 2017 and 2018 even, when we had those games against the Jags, is that we were still kind of rebuilding on defense. I wouldn't say that we're done rebuilding on defense now, but our defense is very solid right now. I think it needs a couple more slabs of concrete on the secondary, and it's going to be potent. But oh man, this is such a game that this is a classic game that the Steelers lose me. But I got all the confidence in the world that we're going to go down to Jacksonville, get this win. But it will not be pretty. Guys, people down in the comments section, hold off on the blowout wins, because while this does look like a lock of the week, trust me, it's not. I've watched 18 years of this stuff. This is not going to be a blowout game. I'll actually be very surprised if it's a blowout. But, yeah, regardless, I got us winning this game by 10 points. But the reason I got us winning this game by 10 points is because I think it's going to be a 3-point game by us, and then we're going to come away with a defensive touchdown to make it a 10-point game. So that's my prediction for this game. I think the defense steps up here, and I don't think Big Ben has a great game because Jacksonville's another team he struggles against. Mm-hmm. And I think you got to get the run game involved here because, Jacksonville's front seven isn't very good. So if James Conner's to break out of his little slump right here, this has to be the week to do it, because if you couldn't do it against the Bengals, who have one of the worst rush defenses in the league, you got to do it against a fire sale team in Jacksonville. So, like I said, I got this being a 3-point game with the Steelers coming away with a defensive touchdown to make it look like a 10-point game when it really wasn't. Bottom line, I got us going to 10-0, and I got us winning ugly by a final of 27-17.
Very well said. I like it. Yeah, if you've been a Steelers fan for as long as we have been, you know what to expect in this game.
Unfortunately.
And as usual, we'll be pissed off every single time. Hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully us saying that and expecting that is just another blowout, but let's be real, that's not happening.
No, I definitely...
I know it. It's like Look, I know I'm so used to the Steelers playing down to competition, and it shouldn't make me mad, but I can't help it because I'm a fan. It makes me mad every single time. It never ceases to amaze me.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, man.
Yeah.
Like, every time.
So
it never gets old if you ask me, but this game's definitely going to be competitive. I know Jacksonville is 1-8, I think, right now, something like that, 1-7, whatever. Either way, they suck.
They're going to be,
They're going to come out.
three.
They're going to come out being competitive. I mean, despite their record, they are still a competitive team. They still try to fight and try to win games.
They did last week.
Yeah, against Green Bay.
They've been doing it all year.
Yeah, and coming or hosting a undefeated Steelers team that's on a hot streak right now, undefeated. They're definitely going to try to knock us off our high horse. Hopefully that does not be the case. I do not think that will be the case because when it comes to this Steelers team, this team feels a lot different because despite us playing down to inferior competition, lately we have been able to close out games. We have been able to try to find a way to get into the end zone and come out with a victory. I think this is another scenario here. I think the Steelers win, and I do agree with Maiden, by 10 points, 24-14.
Wow, I'm the only one here that doesn't think that we win by more than 10 points. I got Pittsburgh winning 26-20. Basically because I can see the offense letting us down and tiring out that defense. I can honestly see James Robinson having another solid game. He's been an incredible undrafted free agent rookie who has stepped up incredibly when they released Fournette. He has been that diamond in the rough. He's about to set NFL records for an undrafted rookie. Mm-hmm. So good on him, but I still think we win. Hopefully that's the case. Hopefully we remain undefeated. I don't want to see us have our first loss go to Jacksonville. That would be embarrassing.
That would be horrible.
It would be. But next game, we have the Tennessee Titans at the Baltimore Ravens. This is an AFC divisional round rematch from last year. What's your prediction?
This is my game. This is my game of the week right here. For any of you guys that follow my weekly picks, I always put up a game of the week, and this is my game of the week right here. It's funny because It's funny, too, now that we mentioned it, it popped into my mind. We got 2 rematches of the AFC divisional round. We got us and the Jaguars, and then you got the rematch of last year between the Titans and the Ravens. So you got 2 rematches of the AFC divisional. How about that? And then, yeah, man, I'll start off by saying this. When the playoffs started last year in my predictions video, I told everybody, and I mean I told everybody, that the Ravens were going to go one and done and that the Titans were going to go into Baltimore and beat them. And as usual, people said, well, you're just saying that because you're a Steelers fan and you hate the Ravens. Oh, no, you don't know what you're talking about. No, I said that for a reason, and it's because to beat the Ravens, you got to beat them at their own game. You got to put them in a deep enough hole, and you got to make them play catch-up so that Lamar can throw the ball. You do that, your chances of beating the Ravens are going to skyrocket. That's exactly what the Titans did to them in that divisional game because they have the offense that outranks Baltimore's defense. If the Ravens get enough pressure playing, a West Coast offense like the Titans have with Ryan Tannehill and all the targets that he has, you're going to beat the Ravens. And that's what Ryan Tannehill did. The Ravens' run defense, I was very overrated, and Derrick Henry showed that in the division game as well when he ran hog wild all over the Ravens, and I loved every minute of it. And, that's why the Titans went up to Baltimore and pulled off, even though I was not surprised at all that the Titans would do that. The Ravens remind me a lot of the 2015 Panthers. They're a run-first team, and when you make them throw the ball, you're going to beat them. When you pressure Lamar and you make him use his mobility in the pocket and you make a pocket passer, you're going to beat him. The Titans, I don't think are a physical team because their defense has really taken a step back this year in both aspects in the pass and run game. But still, Tennessee, they can be a little bit productive when they put their mind to it. It's just a matter of coaching right there by Mike Vrabel. Credit to Vrabel, still one of the top coaches in the league, if you ask me. Tennessee needs to be a little bit better in terms of defense. And I got this being more of the same. I got the Titans offense ripping the Ravens another one here. I don't see having another response for Derrick Henry because this is the final point about the Ravens. Yes, Lamar has this ridiculously good record of, 26-6, 25-5, whatever it is. It's something crazy. But in 5 of those 6 losses or 4 of those 5 losses, whatever it is, they have come in big, important games. Okay? The Ravens got destroyed by Kansas City on Monday Night Football earlier. They blew a 17-7 halftime lead against us earlier, and we beat them in the second half and came away with the win. And I know Raven fans are going to try about officiating, but hey, when 2 players are coming up and compete for the catch like that, it's incidental contact, no flag is thrown. That's just football, guys. And last night, if you want to count that as an important game because it was a Sunday night game, Patriots, they looked like how they were when they were a dynasty. Punched them right in the face, never looked back, got them in a deep enough hole in the fourth quarter. Ravens couldn't do anything with it. And I got the Titans doing that to them again. That's right. I'm going to say the Titans go up to Baltimore and they hand the Ravens their second loss. I think that they're just going to study film about that divisional game. They're going to repeat it again. I don't see the Ravens having a response for Derrick Henry once again because the Ravens are pretty injured right now, and I think Tennessee's going to use that to their advantage, man. So, yeah, I do think the Ravens will make it a game because Tennessee's defense has been suspect this year. But, yeah, guys, I'm going to say it again. The Titans go up to Baltimore, and they win the rematch again. Give me Tennessee 30-24.
Man, I feel bad for Derrick Henry, man. He's not going to have his fullback, Earl Thomas, with him in this game. But, yeah, I agree. I got Tennessee. I think Tennessee will have a repeat of last year. I know that the Ravens added, I guess, a better D-line. They added a better linebacker core with Malik Harrison and Patrick Queen in the draft. But like you said, they're injured. And I think the Patriots use that to their advantage with, what's his name, Damian Harris, I believe.
Yep.
Last week with the Patriots. So, yeah, Derrick Henry can definitely do the same. I got Tennessee winning this. Very similar. They forced Baltimore down at halftime, forced Lamar to throw the ball, which honestly he's obviously not good at, nor are his receivers. They can't create separation. They can't catch the ball to save their lives. Mm-hmm. Tennessee wins this 28-21.
I would love nothing more than Tennessee to beat Baltimore in their home and give the Steelers an advantage in the AFC North. But for some reason, I see Baltimore coming out with a victory, specifically because of Tennessee's defense. Tennessee's defense has zero pass rush. Their rush defense is not great at all. Their secondary only consists of one dude, and that's Kevin Byard. Their defense is very suspect, and I think that's something that the Ravens' offense, which has not done much in the past couple weeks, is definitely something they want to get back on track on and do something. I think that's what they're going to do, especially Lamar Jackson. We all know that Lamar is contained when going up against a great defense, but when it comes to subpar to terrible defenses, he's going to look like his MVP self. And I think that's what's going to happen here.
You could also note that Tennessee has not looked the same since losing to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
No, they haven't. Not even their offense.
No, they haven't.
Not even their offense, man.
They've lost 3 of the last 4 games.
Yeah, they have.
Including which they lost to the damn Bengals.
Exactly.
Yes.
The Bengals of all freaking teams. So.
But we just blew out.
Exactly. So I got Baltimore winning here at home. Let's go 29-26. I think Justin Tucker lucks them out again.
Yeah, it should be an interesting game nonetheless. Next game, we have the New England Patriots at the Houston Texans. What's your prediction here?
Oh, boy, another one that makes me scratch my head here because I don't know what the Patriots are planning on doing right here. I don't know if they're looking to tank, or I don't know if Belichick is being stubborn enough and saying that this team is still competitive and can see playoff potential in this team.
Right.
Regardless of what, I never thought I'd be saying this about the Patriots, and I love it, because usually at this juncture of the season, the Patriots are like 7-2 or 8-1, and they're 4-5 right now, playing the worst football in 20 years. So something I will say about the Patriots is that their secondary is still very strong. They got playmakers on the secondary. I always thought that their rush defense was very spotty, and I, kind of got that being the case again. But the thing is that they're playing the Texans. The Texans just don't have any firepower on that offense outside of Deshaun Watson whatsoever. Mm-hmm. And they could have it, if they didn't trade DeAndre Hopkins for a bag of peanuts. And I bet, I bet Bill O'Brien and the Texans, well, Bill O'Brien's not on the team anymore, but you know what I mean when I say this. I bet the Texans are really kicking themselves after that Hail Mary yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know about this one, man, but I think I'm going to go with New England on this one, even though with how bad they are offensively, I think their defense is going to bail them out for this game, and they're going to limit Deshaun Watson and force him to have another bad game simply because I just don't think Houston's going to put points on the board or lack thereof in this game. Houston, they do have a bad rush defense too, and while I'm not saying Cam Newton is in 2015 form, he certainly isn't. He's regressed every single year since Super Bowl 50, if I'm being honest. I do think Cam Newton is going to kind of show what he used to be against the Texans, just because I always thought Houston's defense was very overrated, and I got that being the case here. So I wanted to pick Houston for this one, but seeing how they've played all year, especially that ugly game they had against the Browns yesterday, I can't pick Houston unless they're playing Jacksonville or something. So I'm going to go ahead and say the Patriots win this one. Pretty close game. But give me New England here, 25-18.
Yeah, I'm going to agree. I got New England. I think they definitely used the rushing game, like you mentioned. Cam Newton, definitely not his MVP self. I still think Cam Newton, even today, is still overrated. But I can see them getting some draws in there, some read options. They got to give Damian Harris the ball still. He has, 300-yard games since stepping in for Sony Michel. And against a Houston rushing defense, which arguably is probably the worst in the league, give that man the ball. So I think that's exactly what Belichick does. New England wins Let's go 31-23.
Yeah, I'm going New England. Excuse me. I'm going New England. Houston did not impress against the Browns, especially offensively, considering the Browns' defense is not that great. I figured Deshaun Watson and his weapons would do a lot more. They did absolutely nothing.
Granted, the weather may have played an effect.
Which, that could have been an effect. But going up against New England's defense, which is still, in my honest opinion, one of the best in the league, they still find ways to shut offenses down in a way, to get some turnovers, to try to help New England win, considering the offense can't do anything. Cam Newton's not doing too well whatsoever. So, but Houston's a mess. They're not looking great.
Clearly. And they don't have a first-round pick.
No, they don't.
They could have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we know that. But New England's going to win here. I got 27-17 New England.
Yeah. I think I don't want to say a no-brainer, but I think that's I'd say inevitable.
Yeah, it's not a no-brainer when they almost lost to the Jets.
Yeah, right, on Monday Night Football.
Mm-hmm.
Next game, we have the Miami Dolphins, which I believe are on a 3-game win streak right now with Tua at quarterback at the Denver Broncos, who just got blown out by the Las Vegas Raiders, AFC West rival. So what's your prediction here?
Finally, a breath of fresh air for me in this week, because this is actually my lock of the week right here.
Mm-hmm.
The Miami Dolphins, they are playing great football right now, and that no one's really talking about them a whole lot. They're playing good defensively. Tua, for what he is in the league right now, a rookie quarterback with the first few games under his belt, he's playing very well. And the Dolphins, I mean, finally getting rid of Adam Gase, they look like a much better coach team with what's his name?
Oh, Flores?
What's his name?
Brian Flores?
Yeah, Flores. Yeah. A little bit of a brain fart there. But, yeah, they're a much better coach team. And the Dolphins, it's going to be very interesting to see where they are come this time next month, in the month of December, when, teams are clinching playoff spots and winning the division and all that stuff. So, yeah, for one, the Dolphins and the Bills are going to be the top dogs in the AFC East. Now, I mean, I never thought I'd be saying that, man. I mean, yeah. I'm not saying Tua's the next Dan Marino or anything. Far from that. They're going to need a lot more from him to be the next Dan the man. But I like what Tua's been doing. He's really impressed so far. And then you got the Broncos. They have just been beaten up over the past couple weeks, even though they're getting a little bit more healthy. But they have just not played good football. Coming off 2 blowout losses in the past 3 games, got blown out by Kansas City, and then yesterday they got stomped by the Raiders. And I got that continuing. Now, normally when an East Coast team has to go out west, I generally give the advantage to the home team, and Denver's the home team in this case, and vice versa. When a West Coast team has to go out east, I give the advantage to the home team because, you're traveling to different time zones and all that stuff. And especially with the Dolphins, they're going from sea level up to mountain level for this. So I don't really think that'll matter because it's 2020 and nothing matters here. So I'm actually going to say the Dolphins keep foot on the gas pedal, and I got this being a blowout. Like I said, lock of the week, 34-7 Miami.
Agreed. I got Miami winning 30-16. I am incredibly excited for Miami and their future. I say this every week. The amount of draft capital they have in the next coming years, especially next year, is crazy. They're going to have an early top 10 pick because the Texans can't find a way to win football games, plus their pick, and the amount of picks they got in the mid-rounds as well. They're going to be stacking that team, which is already looking good. And even that defense, which is, I believe, top 5 in fewest points scored. I believe that is still the case. So, and they're still making plays. So, yeah, Miami wins this 30-16.
Yeah, I got Miami here. Miami stepped up big time, especially defensively. They've been on a roll. I actually believe it's actually a 4-game winning streak.
Is it?
I believe so.
It's actually a 5-game winning streak.
Oh, goddamn, wow, okay. Even better. My Lord. Miami's looking great. They're looking good. Brian Flores has really turned that team around, and their future is bright as hell, especially considering Tua is playing very, very well so far. I got Miami winning 30-17.
Okay. All right, now if the Chargers don't win this game, then I think they ought to just retire their entire franchise. They have not won one game within one score this year, I believe. I believe the only 3 teams in the entire league that have not lost, that have not, what was it called? I think it's lost a game by more than one score. It's the Steelers, the Chiefs, and the Chargers. The difference between those 2 teams and the Chargers is that the Chargers are 2-6. Yep. So if they don't win this game, then I don't know what to tell you about them. We got the Jets at the Chargers. What's your prediction here?
Well, I couldn't have said it better myself. If the Chargers don't win this game, if they somehow find a way to lose to the 0-9 New York Jets, who I honest to God do not see win a game for the rest of the season, they just got to leave the franchise. Because I got to tell you this, the Chargers, they have such a history of losing games like this.
Yeah, they do.
2016, they were in Cleveland to face the 0-14 Browns on Christmas Eve, and the Browns beat them.
Yep.
I remember that. It was just, wow. The Chargers, I mean, people say what they want about the Browns and the Lions, how they lose in the most impressive ways, and they do, but the Chargers are the true kings of losing like that. We don't call them the LA Chokers for nothing. I mean, look at that game they against the Raiders last week. A game-winning touchdown by the Chargers with literally no time left on the clock, and it gets called back because it was an incomplete pass.
Yeah.
Only the damn Chargers could lose that way. And they they stay home to face the Jets, who are coming off a tough loss to the Patriots. Oh my God, the Chargers, they better win this game. They better win this game. I seriously want the Jets to go 0-16 this year, because that's what happens when you have Adam Gase as your head coach.
That's
okay.
Right.
I feel so bad for Sam Darnold, but that being said, I feel so bad for Sam Darnold, though. I don't think he's going to be starting in this game, though, because I still think he's injured. So I think they'll roll with Flacco again. Not entirely sure. But, yeah, like you said, Chargers, they better win this game. And I am picking them to win this game. But if they don't win this game, I'm not picking them for the rest of the year. I don't care who they play. So, yeah, give me L.A. to win this one. Very ugly game. I got Justin Herbert having a good game, but L.A. and that defense that they have that's just been very subpar this year, in my opinion. I think the Jets are just going to make it a game of themselves simply because of that. So, yeah, give me L.A. to win this one. Very ugly game, kind of similar to my Steelers-Jaguars prediction. I got L.A. winning this one 33-24.
Yeah, that's a great note you made about Sam Darnold. I believe he is not playing, actually. Joe Flacco will get the start again. Whether that's better for the Jets, I have no clue. He looked pretty decent against the Patriots until he threw that late interception. If the Chargers don't win, Anthony Lynn needs to be fired on the spot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that better be on camera, on the field. Whoever's in charge, the GM, the president, the owner, whoever, needs to march down that field, and literally fire him right then and there. Chargers win this 35-17.
Chargers got to win this, right?
Yeah.
They should. I honestly cannot see how they lose this game. No way. Like, Justin Herbert's playing out of his mind. They should get Eckler back soon, but, they got guys that have done well in his absence. Mm-hmm. The receivers are stepping up. Their defense is a little meh, considering I figured that their defense is actually going to be the benefit of their team. As a matter of fact, it's actually freaking Justin Herbert. Either way, the Chargers got to win this. If they don't win this, then my God, I think that's it for them. They might as well hang it up and just wave the white flag on the rest of the season. Seriously. But no, Chargers 34-14.
Okay. Now, next game, we have a very interesting one that could actually be a defensive bout. Yeah, Dallas at Minnesota. I'm going to go Minnesota. I don't see Dallas doing anything for the rest of the year. I don't know who's going to start. Andy Dalton's apparently back in practice, I think. It's not going to make a difference. The Dallas Cowboys are just, they might as well call it a season at this point. There's no hope. I don't give a damn how horrible that division is. I don't care how damn close you are. It's a wrap. I got Minnesota 37-13.
Yeah, I'm going to make this short and sweet. I got Minnesota. I think Dalvin Cook's going to have another legendary game. I really do. Dallas ain't much. They're not really going to amount to anything this year. They got to win the rest of their games, and I know for a fact that is not happening. Minnesota's going to win 35-16.
Yeah, like you said, I think this is going to be a defensive game too, because I am currently watching this Vikings-Bears game on mute right now, and it looks like Kirk Cousins is being, well, Kirk Cousins in prime time, can't do anything, throwing into, making horrible decisions.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy's getting $84 million a year. This guy's getting paid $84 million to do that. I mean, it's funny because I finally give Kirk Cousins credit. Oh, look at that. They actually just scored a touchdown.
Did they really?
Kirk Cousins finds Adam Thielen for a touchdown, 19-13 Vikings in the fourth quarter. So good timing on that one, but I still stand by my statement. Yeah, Kirk Cousins, I don't know. He's just not the guy for me. I always thought he was very overrated. Then you got the Dallas Cowboys. I know a lot of people are going to say, well, they're in this situation because Dak Prescott's out for the rest of the year. True, but you got to factor in Dallas was 1-3 when they were coming into that Giants game. Their defense is on pace to give up the most points in NFL history. They've given up a ton of points so far. But for some reason, I don't really think Dallas is going to give up a whole lot of points in this game, but I still am going to go ahead with the Minnesota Vikings here, simply because I just can't pick Dallas this year because their defense is horrible. Garrett Gilbert, whether he is or is not the guy with the Cowboys moving forward, because their quarterback situation is a mess right now. Common sense would say that if Andy Dalton is healthy, he should get the start, but I really don't think that'll make much of a difference because Minnesota's defense is bad. Ezekiel Elliott, he's been butterfingers this year, fumbling the ball so many times. And Minnesota, I think their defense can stand up a little bit, and I think they'll take advantage. So I got the Vikings winning another ugly one here. Kirk Cousins, he has always played well against the Cowboys when he was in the NFC East with Washington. So I kind of got that being the case here. I got Minnesota taking this one. Kind of low scoring, no points put on the board, 22-16.
Okay. Green Bay at Indianapolis. Should be a good one, actually. What's your prediction here?
Once again, another one that can go either way, in my opinion. The Packers, there was a time earlier in the season when I was saying they were the best team in the league, but lately they haven't been really playing all that well. I mean, I know they're 7-2, whatever their record is, and they're on top of the NFC North, and they're going to want to keep pressure on the Bears in that division, even though at this point, I think Green Bay has this division one because the Bears are just mentally challenged when it comes to offense. But, yeah, this is another game that has a Packer loss written all over it because the Colts, I didn't think they'd be that good this season, but oh man, I was wrong about them. They got a good run game. Their rush defense is very similar to ours. They don't give up a whole lot of rush. They don't really give up a whole lot of rushing yards, and they can stop the run very well. The difference between us and the Colts defense, I think Indy does a little bit better on the secondary, but we generate a lot more pressure than the Colts do. But if you take a look at the Steelers and the Colts defenses, they're very similar. And I think that's going to be a big mismatch in here because, while I don't think the Colts are really going to pressure Aaron Rodgers a whole lot, I think that they're going to be able to stop Aaron Jones rather well, because their rush defense is good. We're able to limit Derrick Henry on that Thursday night game. And, yeah, I rolled with the Colts with the upset against the Titans on Thursday night, and it paid off well. I'm going to go ahead and roll with the Colts once again, man. Even though I always thought Phillip Rivers was very overrated, I don't trust him in big games like this. I got Indy's defense and their run game making the difference here because the Packers' defense, very prone to giving up big plays on the ground, and the Colts do have a strong run game this year. So, yeah, I am actually – and seeing how Green Bay struggled against Jacksonville and they were able to nip out a victory against them. They're not going to get away with that against the Colts here, man. The Colts are a much better team, and they're playing very good football right now. So I'm actually going to roll with the Indianapolis Colts to win this one. Tight game, 29-24.
Wow, interesting. This one was another toss-up for me. You make a very valid statement about the Colts possibly winning this. I think this is a good test for Green Bay's offense, or I'm sorry, more so for the Colts' defense. Or either way you look at it, it's a good test. But it's been shown that Rodgers can be shut down. Tampa Bay kind of did it. He didn't look too incredible against the Jags of all teams in Lambeau. I believe that was in Lambeau. So, yeah, I can totally see the Colts pulling this off. But I'm actually going to go Green Bay. I couldn't tell you why. I just have this feeling Green Bay is going to sneak out with a victory. So, I'll go Green Bay. Again, I wouldn't be shocked if Indianapolis pulls this one off, but I'll go Green Bay, 24-22. Very close.
This is another one for me that's going to be a shot in the dark. This is going to be a very competitive game. This game could go either way. Both teams are looking very good. They're looking very hot. Green Bay's offense is looking fantastic. Colts' defense is looking dominant, and that's definitely going to be the must-see here. I do think, however, Green Bay will somehow, someway come out with a victory. They won't get past the Colts defense and win on the road. I'm actually going to go 28-27 Green Bay. I think this will be a very, very close one. They just get out with a win.
Right. Should be interesting, though, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Sunday Night Football, we have a damn good one. We have the Kansas City Chiefs at the Las Vegas Raiders, an AFC West rematch, rivalry matchup, and a rematch from the time that the Vegas beat the Chiefs. The Chiefs only lost so far this year. Do they get to sweep? What's your prediction here?
Well, the Chiefs and Raiders, man, I honestly think this has potential to be one of the best rivalries in the next couple of years. I mean, the Chiefs and Raiders, they always had a pretty big rivalry to begin with, but now with the Raiders being a playoff contender and Kansas City, kind of etching their name as the next dynasty in the league, this has definitely potential to be one of the biggest rivalries in the next few years or so. And the Chiefs, like you said, their only loss of the year was to the Raiders, where the Raiders beat Kansas City at their own game, putting a bunch of points on the board. And they even came away with the big defensive play on Patrick Mahomes. You don't really see that a whole lot. So, yeah, I kind of thought Vegas was going to be a throwaway team this year, but they have really impressed me this year because they beat Drew Brees and Patrick Mahomes. And, yeah, they lost a very bad game to Tampa, but they've responded to it very well. Defense still, I think these defenses are very similar. They give up a lot of big plays. They give up a lot of points. I'd say Kansas City's a little bit better as far as pass defense goes, but, they still need a lot of work as far as the pass defense goes. And Derek Carr, he's no Patrick Mahomes. I still really don't trust Derek Carr in big games like this because he's never really shown up. But I do buy Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs is a very solid running back. He's had a fantastic season so far with Vegas. So I definitely think this is going to be a high-scoring game. Definitely a fireworks show on offense this game. But here's my takeaway. Andy Reid, coming off a bye week, is undefeated in his career.
Really?
That's right. Andy Reid has never lost the game following his bye week in his career. So that's my takeaway right there. And until that trend breaks, I got it continuing. Plus, it's very hard to sweep a team like Kansas City. I just don't see Vegas completing the sweep. I mean, Vegas is good, but they're not great, if you know what I'm talking about. I definitely think they'll be in the playoffs, but they gotta, take these small little baby steps in order for them to be a Super Bowl contender. So, yeah, I'm going to actually go ahead and say Kansas City avoids the sweep here, and Vegas puts up a very respectable game against them. Very hard-fought, high-scoring game here. Kansas City takes this one 43-37.
Wow, I agree. This is definitely going to be a high-scoring matchup. I also agree this will be one of the better rivalries in the next coming years. The Vegas Raiders are only going to get better. I actually think they will get like the 6th or 7th seed in the playoffs possibly. They could actually fight with the Colts, the Titans, the Ravens, if you look at it that way, or even the Browns to fill in for that 6th or 7th spot, in my opinion. Do they get in? Very possible. Gruden has turned that team around. Carr's actually looking pretty decent. That rushing game is very solid for him. So, but I don't think it's going to get the job done against Kansas City, even though they are at home. This is prime time. You make a great point about Reed coming off of buys. I didn't even know that was an actual stat, that was factual. That actually is. So that's impressive. He keeps the trend going. I got Kansas City 38-35.
Yeah, I'm going to go Kansas City here. Vegas is actually performing a lot better than I ever imagined this season. Like, they've shut me up.
I knew they'd show some potential. I didn't think they'd be this good.
No, absolutely not. They've shown a lot. Defensively, they've done a very solid job. Offensively, they are striking. Their receivers are doing good, especially Nelson Aguilar, considering how he was in Philadelphia. Derek Carr's looking good. Josh Jacobs is impressive as hell. Their offensive line is protecting Carr. John Gruden's got something brewing in Las Vegas, and I think Raiders fans should be happy about it. They really should.
After years of mediocrity, yeah.
Absolutely. But Kansas City's looking good, coming off a bye. They're 8-1. I think they will get the win here. They will go to 9-1. I'm going to say in a very hard-fought physical game, 31-27.
Yeah, it should be definitely interesting. Possible game of the year candidate. It's definitely going to be a fun rivalry matchup here.
Yeah.
Could give the Cardinals and the Seahawks a run for their money. Now to close out Week 11, guys, we have the Los Angeles Rams at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Antonio Brown is breaking surveillance cameras and throwing bikes at security guards. Don't know if he'll be present in this game. He might be released by the end of the week. Who knows? I mean, this dude just can't stay out of trouble, can he?
Nope.
So, yeah, I just thought I'd note that because the news came out a few hours ago. I find that
hilarious.
I don't want to say hilarious because it's quite sad seeing how far he's fallen, but
it's sad and hilarious to me.
Right.
That's just me, though.
But, yeah, what's your prediction here?
This was actually the toughest one for me to pick. Out of all the games this week, this was the toughest one for me. Because my thing with the Rams is this. They got a great defense this year, but I don't buy Jared Goff in primetime. He was never really all that impressive to me in primetime games because even when the Rams made the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, it's like Jared Goff, he had Todd Gurley to fall back on. Now he doesn't have him, and they really don't have that same, that same shot of adrenaline they had when in the backfield. Malcolm Brown is good for the Rams, but he's definitely not Todd Gurley good, in my opinion. But Sean McVay, I was totally wrong about Sean McVay. He's won my respect this year. I think Sean McVay is one of the best coaches in the league. He's done a very good job with this team this year. So, yeah, the Rams, I think they're going to be okay. I think they're going to be back in the playoffs this year, and I think they're going to make it much more – they've already made it way more interesting in the NFC West. They're going to make it even more interesting seeing that they took down the Seahawks. So, and they made Russ have another bad game. So, LA's looking good, but then you got the Buccaneers. They won by 23 points over Carolina, but they really didn't look all that good against them. It took a Ronald Jones 97, 98, whatever it was, yard touchdown run against the Panthers to really put that game away. And the Buccaneers, for as much praise that I gave their front seven, it's kind of looked a little off over the past few weeks because they barely squeaked by the Giants a couple weeks ago on Monday Night Football. Okay, they literally needed people say that, the Steelers needed the referees to beat the Dallas Cowboys, The Giants were attempting a 2-point conversion to tie the game against the Buccaneers, and the refs threw a pass interference flag, and then they literally picked it up.
Mm-hmm.
So when you need ref help to beat the Giants, that's trouble. They get their doors absolutely blown off by the Saints on Sunday Night Football last week, which I did not see coming at all. I mean, I knew the Saints could probably win that game, but in the fashion they did it, wow. And then there was yesterday, like I said, it suggests Tampa dominated them, but they really didn't look all that dominant. My thing is this, Brady, over the past couple of years, he hasn't looked so sharp in these primetime games. And I love saying that. I think every Steeler fan loves saying that. He hasn't looked all that good in these primetime games. And now he has to play, a team that has a stout defense that has Brady's weakness, which we all know is pressure. Him having to go up against Aaron Donald like that, that's my takeaway for this one. So, the Buccaneers in general, they really haven't looked impressive in these big games, in my opinion. Losing that week 1 game to the Saints, getting blown out by them weeks later, needing help to beat the Giants, losing to the goddamn Bears of all teams in prime time. I actually got the LA Rams in this one. I think the Rams defense is going to limit Brady in this game. They're going to cause pressure. I actually think the Buccaneers get garbage time points here because Brady's going to be throwing often and a lot in this game because they're not going to have any rhythm on offense because LA's defense is going to show up for this game. So I'm actually going to say LA takes this one 30-23.
You are not alone. I have the Chargers. Oh, wow. Whoa. Rams, I apologize for comparing you to the Chargers. I saw Los Angeles and immediately thought the Chargers. There's no way they would beat Tampa Bay. I have the Rams, I have the Rams winning. Tampa Bay is coming off of a win to Carolina, of course. You still don't impress me. And you make a great point about Brady in primetime. So I think that's another case, even though they are at home. I got the Rams here. 29-26. I hope Aaron Donald puts Brady on his ass all fucking game.
So do I, bro. So do I. But I'm actually going to go with Tampa Bay here. I do think this game could be very defensive, but at the same time, I can see this game being a very offensive game. I go with Tampa Bay specifically because of Jared Goff. When it comes to top-tier defenses, when Jared Goff is playing against them, he does not bode well. He does not look like that first overall pick that he should show his potential against great defenses. He doesn't.
I don't think he ever does.
He did last week against the Seahawks defense, but that's the Seahawks defense, one of the worst in the league. You're looking at a up-and-rising Buccaneers defense with a fierce pass rush and a young but very good secondary.
Indeed.
Although go on.
I was going to say they have weapons.
Definitely. Yes, they do. But Jared Goff's always had the weapons since Sean McVay first came in as the Rams head coach. But even then, when he faces terrible defenses, he doesn't bode well. He acts under pressure. He makes terrible decisions, and it comes to bite him in the ass. And I think that's what Tampa Bay is going to try to do here. And if they do that, they're going to take advantage of that. I think Tampa Bay will win here. I'm going to say 32-26, Tampa Bay.
Okay.
I hope I'm wrong. Believe me. I hope I'm wrong, but that's my pick.
Okay, I understand it. Side note, Rob just beat me in our fantasy matchup. Dalvin Cook won him his matchup this week. Nick Chubb, you can go fuck yourself for going out at the 1-yard line. I hate you so much. I've lost all respect for you for stepping out the one, even though it made no sense whatsoever. You easily could have gotten an extra 6 points and secured my matchup, but you did not, and thus I hate you forever. But nonetheless, man, that was week 11 predictions with Steel Maiden. Want to give a huge shout, huge thank you to Steel Maiden, man. If you are not subbed up to him, you are missing out big time, man. He actually just hit 2,000 subscribers recently, so big congrats to him, man. Let's keep that going, man. Let's get him to 3,000. How about that?
That's right. Just it's been a great ride, man. I mean, when I started YouTube, I've been on YouTube for 6 years, but I started making vids 4 years ago. But, if you told me that if I was going to be at the 2,000 sub mark at this point, I would not have believed you. But, it's just been truly amazing, man. So, yeah, thank you guys for having me so much. I'd love to stay on here and talk, but 7:30 comes bright and early, and that's all there is to it, man.
Yeah, I totally get it. No problem. But thanks for joining us. Great to have you. Thanks for your thoughts, opinions, and your time, of course, and, of course, your predictions. Romo, welcome to join us in the piece. And, Bob, you can sign us out, man.
Like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you later. Peace!
Still Maiden checking on out. Peace!